Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is while you're watching this, and welcome to some of the more stupid things I've seen in 2024. Being on a bike, you do occasionally get allocated parking unless somebody thinks they're a bike and can take all or part of it. At least there's only two wheels in the bike spaces on this one, and of course you can always park on a white line instead of between them if you try hard enough. Vehicle ramp, yeah, they're for pedestrians as well. Obviously you think you're some sort of vehicle. Good job I'm on the bike, not the car in that one. So push bikes, they've got a lot of new stuff in the highway code. Obviously a few special signs for the ones that can't actually read it, and a right to ride two abreast, else they'll keep bleating on. But they also have a responsibility under rules 66 and 67 in the highway code not to ride two abreast when there are vehicles approaching from either in front or behind. Perhaps somebody should read it to these Charlies, because obviously can't work it out for themselves. Of course the really special and entitled ones just ride the wrong side of the road into oncoming traffic. Of course cyclists ignore red lights, and yeah, there's a few people that think they should do so as well. The BMW had stopped for a bit, then decided the red didn't apply to them. It does seem to be a thing with German cars. They think they don't need to obey the rules. I mean, that's red for a little while. And a Mercedes as well, just blatting through a temporary red light at a set of traffic lights. You can see I'd stopped because the lights had changed. The learner was perfectly okay to go through. But that one, yeah, maybe not. The bigger they are, the more they seem to be able to barrel through red light. The light for the oncoming traffic is just changing to red about now. So, yeah, that lorry's gone through on a red. And that one definitely has. But not only has it gone through on that red, it also goes through on the next one, where the lorry with the yellow container would actually stop. We all like a good lane hog. I don't know what it is. We've now got a lot of 4-lane motorways in the UK. So I take it that all these people that are now hogging lane 3 used to hog the middle lane. I mean, what's the point? This van's doing about 60 miles an hour, just wandering along in lane 3. As you can see, causing problems. You're not allowed to overtake on the inside in the UK, but it looks like it's some sort of hot hatch van. Even little cars like this one here, I drive a small car myself, just sit in the lane. And professional drivers, as lorry drivers like to tell us they are, they can do exactly the same thing, sitting in the lane for mile after mile. It's about 4 miles, I think this one was sat in the outside lane, again doing about 60 miles an hour. Being on a motorbike, you have a superpower. You're invisible, as you can see from these next few. Watching for something coming out of a garage is always a good thing to keep your eye on. Of course, anything coming out of anywhere will probably not be too keen on stopping if it's just a bike. Be it junctions, such as these couple of examples, or roundabouts. I mean, if you're going to pull out in front of a bike, at least then accelerate. Don't just sit there doing 20 miles an hour in a 50 mile an hour limit. Pulling out from the side of the road, don't worry about using your indicators, just pull out. If the car had been using its indicators, I'd have stopped and let it go out. The traffic isn't moving that quick, but instead they just swung out of the parking space. Well done. Now another roundabout one here. This was a very close call. The wide angle lens exaggerates the distance to the car. It was about a foot. And here we have a few more examples of roundabouts. They're meant to help traffic flow, but occasionally people on mini roundabouts don't seem to be that bothered about trying to actually go round them for some reason. Other things to watch out for if you go on dual carriageway, 2 lanes straight on, somebody cutting across without looking and seeing if there's anybody there. They're going from lane 1 to lane 1 and just cut the roundabout. The opposite one here, going from lane 2 to lane 2 and then just cutting through across onto lane 1. And notice they'd stopped indicating before they cut me up. And this is an absolute corker. In the arrows at the top right hand side you can see a white car. It's actually stationary at this point, going onto a dual carriageway. It had just stopped. Might have broken down, might be a reason for it, so I'm taking my time. No, they want to actually go into the shopping centre on the next junction, so they pull across the fast lane and the chevron area where you're not supposed to be driving. Flashing orange lights mean they're still working. Came up behind this lorry, it had left its working lights on and started to indicate right, it's turning round to pick up some road signs. There's a garage on the right hand side and a junction to the left. I'm going down the junction, starting to go in, then all of a sudden the lorry indicates left and swerves into the junction. Problem is, I can't turn into the junction now because it went straight on here to turn round, blocking my exit. Interesting one coming up, and a bit of self-preservation if you're a rider. See the black sort of semi 4x4 indicating right, but in the left hand lane it's still indicating right. I'm expecting it to go, well, never mind, just go left instead. Some people really are quite hard of thinking. I mean, if you're going to do an overtake, but don't just dive in front of the vehicle you've overtaken. I don't know why, because there's another vehicle in front that they should have just sat in the outside lane and overtaken both, as I've just done. Here's one. Solid white line means don't overtake. Going over to the brow of a hill means don't overtake, and it's adverse weather as well. But hey, just overtake. You might get away with it. You've not been allowed to use a phone on the road in the UK for several years. Obviously this lady didn't quite understand what that meant, but she's obviously in complete control of her car, as you can see from the way she cuts straight across this corner. Here we have another one of an interesting dickhead that you're not going to be able to see the full example of. They're doing about 60 miles an hour in lane 2. My Himalayan tops out at about 65, 70. So I've overtaken them, and they've just decided to accelerate and sit in my 8 o'clock position, preventing me from going back into lane 2. I'm indicating, I'm trying to move the bike to let them know I want to come back across, and they're just sitting there. The driver is a complete pillock and thinks it's funny to be smiling at me out the side window as he then undertakes me. Don't know why, because he's about to leave at the next junction. Anyway, a few things you need to do is learn to relax. I obviously need this. This learner driver, the lights have gone green. They're having trouble doing a hill start. You can see by the way the car's stalling. I could go past it. I'm not gonna. They're on L plates. Give them time. Don't give them any hassle and extra grief unless you've come from 4 cars back and feel like squeezing in front where it goes down to a single carriageway road. I'm not sure what this white car's doing. It seems to be a little bit lost. We can all get lost. We can all make mistakes. It's actually on the wrong side of the road here. Where's it going? I'm going to stop and let him sort themselves out. No point in bipping horns or trying to rev the engine and go past. It's only going to cause them more grief. Blimmin' cyclists again, 2 abreast. These know what to do. They get out the way. So sitting behind for a couple of seconds and there you go. A few things that you can see on the road, but also if you're on a bike, don't be a cock. Don't go straight through red lights because it gives a bad impression. I can give myself a bad impression. I've already mentioned about doing overtakes across solid white. Yeah, some of them are long and pointless, but this one isn't. It's approaching a series of bends, but hey, just ignore them and go belting straight past to catch up with your mate. Of course, if you've got a shiny pink head, you can pretend you've got a shiny pink crash helmet on instead of leaving it, well, at home. Oh no. You've got somebody else to carry it for you. So that's it for my roundup of some of the things I've seen in 2024. Hopefully we'll get some better weather in 2025. But if you are out on a bike, take care and just don't give people a bad impression. Your loud exhaust only impresses your mates. I'm sure your mum might be proud of you as well, especially when you pull the wheelie down the high street. But to be honest, not anybody else is. But anyway, I think that's quite enough whinging from me, which is something that I hardly ever say if I can help it. And of course, a few people would be just better off if they had their car like this and weren't able to get out in it and go for a drive. Anyway, tatty bye for now.